Chapter 6. Clara's warning. The French Quarter glowed under a velvet night, its streets a riot of Mardi Gras revelry. Lanterns swung from balconies, casting golden light on masked dancers who twirled to the brassy wail of a street band on Orleans Street. Floats lumbered past, their papier-mâché gods and monsters swaying, while revelers tossed beads and shouted for more. The air was thick with the scent of Creole gumbo simmering in open courtyards and the sharp bite of bootleg whiskey. Beneath the chaos, though, the crescent moon murders hung like a storm cloud, their shadow lengthening with each passing hour. Julien Dubois stood outside a Creole mansion on Esplanade Avenue, its wrought iron gates gleaming under gaslights. The house belonged to the Beaumont family, old money steeped in sugar and secrets. Clara Beaumont, the youngest daughter, was a name Julien hadn't let himself think of in years, not since their brief, reckless affair ended in bitter silence. But Celeste's tip about the crew of Comus Ball, where Henri Levine and now Edgar Thibodeau had mingled before their deaths, had led him here. Clara had been at the ball, radiant in the Times-Picayune society pages, and Julien needed to know what she'd seen. He adjusted his fedora, the scar along his jaw itching as he rang the bell. The door opened to a maid, her eyes wary. "Miss Clara's not receiving," she said, but Julien flashed his badge, his voice firm. "Tell her it's Julien Dubois. She'll see me." Moments later, he was led to a parlor dripping with opulence, crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, and a phonograph spinning a soft jazz tune. Clara stood by a window, her blonde hair pinned in a flapper's bob, her silk gown the color of moonlight. At 30, she was still a vision, but her blue eyes were haunted, her fingers trembling as she clutched a cigarette. "Julien," she said, her voice a fragile thread. "I didn't think you'd come back here. Not after everything." He stepped closer, the scent of her jasmine perfume stirring memories he'd buried. "This isn't about us, Clara. Henri Levine and Edgar Thibodeau are dead, both masked with a crescent moon. You were at the Comus Ball. What did you see?" Clara's cigarette faltered, ash falling to the parquet floor. She turned to the window, where the parade's distant drums pulsed like a heartbeat. "I saw what everyone saw, glitter, champagne masks. The Quarter's elite playing their games. But Henri, he was nervous, whispering with men I didn't know. Men who wore rings with a moon on them." Julien's pulse quickened, Tommy's words about the order echoing in his mind. "What men, Clara? Names. I need names." She shook her head, her voice dropping to a whisper. "You don't understand, Julien. They're not just men. They're a group old as the city with power you can't touch. They call themselves the Order, and they're dangerous. I heard Henri say something about a price, about blood under the moon. I thought he was drunk, but now..." Her eyes met his, wide with fear. "They're watching Julien. They know who talks." Julien's hand grazed her arm, steadying her. "Clara, if you know something, tell me. I can protect you." She laughed, a brittle sound. "Protect me? Like you protected Amélie?" The mention of his sister's unsolved murder cut deep, and Julien's face hardened. Clara's expression softened, regret flickering. "I'm sorry, Julien, but I can't. Not yet." Before he could press further, a shout from the street broke the moment, a firecracker, or something sharper. Clara flinched, her cigarette dropping as she backed toward a side door. "I have to go," she said, her voice frantic. "Don't follow me, Julien. Please." "Clara, wait." He lunged, but she was already gone, the door slamming behind her. Julien cursed, his boots echoing as he chased her into a courtyard. The gate to the street was ajar, and by the time he reached it, Clara had vanished into the Mardi Gras throng, her silver gown a fleeting shimmer among the masks. He stood there, the parade's chaos swallowing her trail. Clara's warning, the order, the moon rings, the price of blood, tied her to the murders, and her fear was no act. She was running from something or someone, and Julien had let her slip away. His scar burned, Amélie's name a fresh wound. He lit a cigarette, the match flaring in the dark, and turned back to the Quarter. The killer was out there, their next move already in motion, and Julien was running out of time to stop them.